Imagine waking up in a world where almost every human is gone. The forests are eerily silent. No birds. No voices. No sign of another tribe. Every day, food becomes harder to find. The sun struggles to shine through a sky filled with ash. Your family huddles together, not knowing if they'll survive another sunrise. It feels like the end of the world. But this isn't the plot of a movie. It's a story that may have happened to our own ancestors. Around 70,000 years ago, something may have pushed humanity closer to extinction than ever before. Some scientists believe only a tiny population managed to survive. If that's true, then the reason you're alive today could be because of just a handful of survivors. But what nearly erased our species? And how did those few people change the future of everyone on Earth? But did humanity really come that close to disappearing? Or is this one of history's greatest mysteries? For decades, scientists have searched for the answer. Some believe a catastrophic event pushed our ancestors to the very edge of extinction. Others argue the truth is far more complicated. So, what really happened? Was it a massive volcanic eruption that covered the sky with ash? Did a sudden shift in Earth's climate make survival almost impossible? Or was it a combination of disasters that changed the course of human history forever? And perhaps the biggest question of all, how many humans were actually left alive? Hundreds? Thousands? Or even fewer than that? The evidence hidden in our DNA tells a fascinating story. One that has completely changed the way scientists think about our past. By the end of this video, you'll discover why every person alive today may owe their existence to one incredibly small group of survivors. And why, if even they had failed, human history might have ended before it ever truly began. To understand what almost happened, we first need to travel back nearly 70,000 years. Long before cities, before kingdoms, before the first written word. Our ancestors lived in a very different world. Picture yourself standing on the vast plains of ancient Africa. The morning air is cool. Golden sunlight stretches across endless grasslands. In the distance, herds of antelope race across the open land. Elephants move slowly toward a nearby river. Lions rest beneath the shade of ancient trees. And somewhere among this incredible wilderness, a small group of early humans begins another ordinary day. They don't have houses. They don't have farms. They don't even know what a country is. Everything they need comes from nature. At sunrise, hunters leave camp carrying simple stone tools. Others gather berries, roots, and fresh water. Children play near the safety of the fire, while the elders share knowledge that has been passed down for countless generations. That fire is more than just warmth. It keeps dangerous predators away. It cooks their food. It brings the tribe together after sunset. Life isn't easy. Every day is a fight to survive. But for thousands of years, humanity has learned to adapt. The tribes are small. The world is wild. And despite the dangers, life goes on. No one knows that this peaceful world is about to face one of the greatest challenges our species may have ever encountered. Then, everything changed. Nearly 74,000 years ago, deep beneath the island we now know as Sumatra, the Earth began to awaken. Pressure had been building for thousands of years. No human could see it. No one could hear it. And no one had any idea what was about to happen. Then, the ground exploded. A colossal volcanic eruption tore through the landscape with unimaginable force. Millions of tons of ash and rock were blasted high into the atmosphere. The explosion was so enormous that many scientists consider it one of the largest volcanic eruptions in the last 2 million years. Within hours, the sky began to change. A thick blanket of ash spread across vast regions of the Earth. Daylight faded into a strange gray darkness. The sun became little more than a dim glow behind the ash-filled sky. As weeks turned into months, temperatures may have begun to fall. Rain patterns shifted. Plants struggled to survive. Forests that had once been full of life started to wither. Grasslands shrank. Rivers changed. The animals that early humans depended on began to disappear. Every missing herd meant less food. Every dying forest meant fewer places to hide. Every passing season made survival even harder. Some scientists believe this eruption may have triggered years of harsh environmental change, pushing our ancestors into one of the greatest survival challenges they had ever faced. But the eruption itself wasn't the real enemy. It was everything that came after. And humanity had no idea. This was only the beginning. For the people who lived through it, the eruption wasn't the end. It was the beginning of a long fight to survive. Imagine waking up every morning, not knowing if you'll find enough food to keep your family alive. The familiar hunting grounds are empty. The herds have moved on, or disappeared completely. The rivers that once gave life are becoming harder to find. Every journey is longer than the last. Every meal is smaller than the one before. And every day brings another impossible choice. Do you stay and hope the land recovers? Or leave everything behind, searching for a place that might not even exist? Small tribes begin to move across unfamiliar landscapes. They carry only what they can hold. Children struggle to keep up. The elderly fall behind. Every step is a gamble. The nights grow colder. The fire that once brought comfort now feels too small against the darkness. Beyond its light, predators still wait. But hunger has become an even greater threat. Some families never reach the next valley. Some tribes are never seen again. With every group that disappears, humanity becomes a little smaller, a little quieter, a little closer to the edge. Yet even in the middle of fear, people refuse to stop. They share what little food they have. They protect one another. They carry the youngest. They help the injured. Because they understand something we still depend on today. No one survives alone. And somewhere, against impossible odds, a few small groups keep moving forward, completely unaware that the future of our entire species may now rest on their survival. Thousands of years passed. The survivors rebuilt their lives. They explored new lands. Their descendants spread across the world. But they also left behind something unexpected. A clue hidden inside every human alive today. Not in ancient tools. Not in cave paintings. But in our DNA. When scientists began studying the human genome, they discovered something surprising. Compared to many other species, modern humans have remarkably low genetic diversity. In simple words, we're genetically more alike than many scientists expected. It's almost as if, at some point in our distant past, our population became incredibly small. Some researchers believe this could mean our ancestors passed through a genetic bottleneck, a period when only a relatively small number of people contributed to future generations. Exactly how small that population was, and what caused it, is still debated. Some estimates suggest only a few thousand breeding individuals may have remained. Others argue the number could have been larger, or that several events, not just one, shaped our genetic history. But regardless of the exact explanation, the mystery remains astonishing. If our ancestors really were reduced to such a small population, then every city, every nation, every language, every family on Earth today, may trace its roots back to that tiny group of survivors. Think about that for a moment. The billions of people alive today could all be connected by one of the greatest survival stories in human history. So, if our ancestors really faced one of the greatest survival challenges in history, how did they make it through? The answer wasn't strength. It wasn't speed. And it certainly wasn't luck alone. What truly made humans different was the ability to adapt. When the environment changed, they changed with it. When food disappeared, they searched farther than ever before. When one path became impossible, they found another. But adaptability was only the beginning. Humans had something even more powerful. They had each other. Unlike most animals, our ancestors survived by working together. Hunters shared their food. Parents protected every child, not just their own. Elders passed down knowledge that could mean the difference between life and death. Around every campfire, stories became lessons. Lessons became memory. And memory became survival. Language allowed ideas to spread. Fire provided warmth, cooked food, and kept dangerous predators at a distance. Intelligence helped people solve problems no claws or sharp teeth ever could. And when survival demanded it, they migrated. Across rivers, through forests, over mountains, always searching for a place where life could begin again. Every step forward carried hope. Every child who survived became the future. Every small victory pushed humanity one day farther from extinction. Our ancestors didn't survive because they were the strongest creatures on Earth. They survived because they learned to think together, to adapt together, and above all, to survive together. Today, our world is home to more than 8 billion people. We build towering cities. We explore the deepest oceans. We send spacecraft beyond our planet. It's easy to believe humanity was always destined to reach this point. But history tells a very different story. Somewhere in our distant past, our ancestors may have stood closer to extinction than we can truly imagine. A handful of small tribes, scattered across a dangerous world, kept moving forward. They hunted. They adapted. They protected one another. And they refused to give up. If even one of those surviving groups had failed, the story of humanity could have been completely different. None of our languages, none of our civilizations, none of our discoveries, and perhaps, none of us, would be here today. Whether every detail of that ancient bottleneck happened exactly as scientists first imagined is still being studied. But one truth remains undeniable. Human history is not just a story of survival. It's a story of resilience, of cooperation, and of hope in the face of impossible odds. The greatest miracle in human history may not be the pyramids, or the invention of the wheel, or even our journey into space. It may simply be this: against all the odds, humanity survived. And because it did, you're here to hear this story. Fade to black.